Ah, yes, you've perhaps seen it in that early episode of My Retro Life. Me getting DuckTales on the NES and later playing that game at my 4th birthday party. My mom seems pretty happy for me, right? Well, later that year, when Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers came out, it was a different story.
Too much money, too much money.
What's up, guys? It's your buddy Tyler coming at you with a new video here on My Retro Life. I remember the day that I discovered this game like it was yesterday, guys. My dad and I had a normal video game store haunt that we would always go to on his days off. He used to have Tuesdays off, I'll never forget it back in these days, and more often than not, that meant we would go to the Westwood Mall and stop by our favorite video game store, G&G. I actually have a small little clip here of G&G. You can see it. I'll freeze it right here. That is G&G. We would go to G&G all the time here in the Houston area, the Westwood Mall, which is no longer around. And this is where we would buy all of our NES games. I mean, sometimes we'd get them at Toys R Us, but for the most part, it was G&G. And the reason for that is G&G would let you play any game that they had on the shelf. They would let you take it down and play it on the store kiosk that you see here. I would always try out new games this way, and in particular, this one day, I think it was already playing on the store kiosk. I walked into the store with Dad, and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers was there. I'll never forget it. I saw it and I was like, oh, it's Chip and Dale. And we already had DuckTales at this point. And I remember seeing this kid play it. He was close to my age, if not a little bit older, actually. And he was standing there at the kiosk and I'm watching him play it. Well, he gets a certain length into the first stage, loses, or he turns to me and says, hey, do you want to try? Or I ask him, hey, can I try? I walk up to the game and he hands me the controller and he's watching me from the side. And Dad, of course, is also watching me play through the first level of Chip and Dale. I don't remember if I picked Chip or Dale. I probably picked Chip because he's the one I usually always picked. I loved how he was like Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones was one of my favorite characters. Well, on my first try, I start whipping through this level. I immediately grasped the gameplay in which you have to pick up the boxes and throw them at the enemies. You have the metal chomping dogs that catch the different stray cats. I'll never forget that episode. I think it was Catteries Not Included was the name of that episode of Rescue Rangers. I actually had a VHS tape that had that episode on it. This whole level was ripped right from that episode of the cartoon, and I really latched on. I was, oh, it's the metal dogs that Professor Nimnol, you know, his metal robot dogs. I was doing so well, and Dad really understood that this was kind of a rarity. Like, I normally didn't immediately grasp a game and just play it so well. Even the kid next to me who was watching me play it, he was commenting like, oh man, he's good. He's really good at this. This is so cool. And Dad was really he was listening and watching and seeing how I was making it through the level. I got all the way to the end of the level where you have to fight the giant machine and you're throwing that red ball at it, and I'm figuring out all this stuff. I was only 4 years old, guys. Really, I think Dad, I remember him standing by my side. I stopped playing the game and he said, so you like this game, huh? You really like it? I said, turned to him and I was like, yeah, this is really great. I'm really enjoying it. He goes, well, I'll tell you what, since you're so good at it, since you're just such a pro, I'm going to go ahead and get it for you. But we have to talk to your mom about it when we get home. Let me do all the talking, he goes. we didn't have cell phones back then, so Dad couldn't just call Mom up and talk to her about it. He just impulse bought Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers for me that day right there in the store after I did so well on it. I remember driving home with him, and I was so excited. I was holding the game. I couldn't believe it. A brand new game. I was doing so well with it, and I couldn't wait to continue playing it and replay that first stage again, and then keep going from that first stage on. And we get home, and Dad says, "Let me do all the talking with Mom. You stand there, and I'll explain to her." And so we walk in, and we get into the house. We open the door. I think Mom might have been cooking in the kitchen and making dinner for us. And we say our hellos. She asks us, "How's your day? You know, how did it go? Did you guys have a good time out?" And Dad is telling her, "Oh, yeah, sure." And I'm standing there. I'm just kind of, waiting for Dad to do all the talking. And he says, "Well, we ended up getting this game." And she goes, "You bought a game?" And he's like, "Yes, honey, yes, we bought a game, but you got to understand, he was so good at it. You should have seen him. He was just running through that stage, and he was doing so well. He was throwing the boxes at all those metal dogs." Mom didn't know that this game was going to be bought, that this money was going to be spent. I think the fact that Dad was so supportive of this hobby and these games, and my mom knew how much joy these games brought to me as a kid. What quickly was kind of like you bought another game turned into, okay, all right, I get it. And so I got Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers that day. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Oh man, this was a great game, and I still love playing it. I can beat it really quickly these days. It's still one of my favorites, guys, and I have a great story of how I first discovered it. And the very first day that I played this game was the very first day I owned this game. So cool. That didn't happen all the time, but Dad made it special. He knew when to seize an opportunity. He knew when to live in the moment, and Mom supported his decision. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know in the comments below if you have a great story or great memories with Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Was it one of your favorite cartoon shows on the Disney Afternoon block? Was it a game that you owned maybe back in the day, or did you play it later? Did you play the sequel that came out a few years later, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2 on the NES? Let me know in the comments below. I'd be curious to know any stories that you guys might have. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Do be sure to like this video. If you have not subscribed yet to the channel, please do. This might be your first time watching. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.